Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Ken Davis.
Thank you for that sincere, spontaneous response. I get that everywhere I go. I am so glad to be here tonight. My heart is sort of torn. I just got a text from my wife. Tornadoes are roaring through Tennessee everywhere. I hope that she will be safe. But this is nothing new for Tennessee. We've been experiencing this for the last 3 months. I have not seen the sun in the last 3 months. Not that I've got a bad attitude about it, but when you wake up in the morning and Al Roker is doing the weather from your porch, it's a bad day. And I don't want to see him doing weather from my porch. The last time I saw him doing weather, he was doing a hurricane and it blew him over. Did you see that? Two guys hanging onto his feet and they're all being dragged down the street. That's a big guy. That's a big hurricane. They're dragging him right down it. Those hurricane people, weather people, are hilarious. They're just hilarious. You ever see those guys doing hurricanes? Those guys that stand on the beach and they're standing there and their hair's ruffling a little bit and they go, there's a hurricane 72 miles off the shore right now. Big hurricane, number 9 hurricane off the shore. Big eye, got an eye bigger than mine. And it's really important that you get out of here. Everybody get out of here. And his hair is blowing in the wind and he's saying, only a fool would stay here. You tune in an hour or two later, same dude still standing there, leaning into the wind, his toupee is flying back like this. And he's going, oh, look at the waves are coming in, they're going almost up to the houses, get out of here. And nobody who is in their right mind would stay here. A couple hours later, you tune in one more time, same guy hanging onto a palm tree, going like this. His teeth are gone. Whole buildings are going by. What was that? McDonald's. Not the guy, the business. Oh, what a time. We had a great time last time we were here. I was telling the folks here, I look across the audience, see teenagers sprinkled through the audience. Great people. I just want to kind of introduce myself to you tonight. I am a 17-year-old boy in a wrinkled package. I love teenagers. I love their hearts. I love their spirit. I love the way they approach life. They're just crazy. I just don't want to stay in the same hotel as them. How many of you have ever been in a hotel with a teenager? Yeah, I'm not putting them down, but that ought to be against the law. I ask the people who invite me to come to speak for youth conferences, please put me in a different hotel. Or if it's a large group, maybe a different city. If you've never experienced this, I'll tell you what it's like. If you're in a hotel with a teenager, this is what you hear all night long. And it's still I see you've been there. It's still, a lot of times, it's this little game, this little find each other game, you know. This girl, You can't catch me. And behind her comes the guy. I'll catch you, give you a kiss. Drove me nuts. I just opened the door, tripped her. I said to the guy, there she is, kiss her and get out of here. They have a strategy. They have a plan. There's a plot. I'm in my room. I fall asleep. It's 1 o'clock. Phone rings. I pick up the phone. It's a young man about your age. And he says, is your clock running? No, this is sick. This is not a laughing matter. For an old person, this is sick. Is your clock running? Now, I'm so tired, I answered a man. I'm so tired, I answer him. I go, just a second, I'll check. You know, the thing only changes once a minute. Yes, it's running. And the kid said, go catch it. And he hung up. Now, these children do not know how long it takes old people to get back to sleep. Have to pop another sleeping pill, drink some hot milk, turn over 9, 10 times. Finally, I'm asleep. And I am awakened this time by a knock on the door. I get up to go to the door, and my right arm has fallen asleep. That's the weirdest thing that can happen to a human being, because your brain has not been notified. Your brain says to your arm, open the door. And your arm says, I don't live here anymore. They foreclosed on me. Tingle lives here now. I couldn't open the door. I had to have my leg help my arm to get it up to where I could open the door. I get tickled. I saw some folks do it. You know, that's stupid. What are you doing right now? That's really stupid. I got it up. I finally got the door open, and who's there? Teenagers, tell me, who's there? That's right, nobody! Oh, ha, ha, ha! I can hear him down at the end of the hall going, did you see the man? His arm didn't work. And then I heard the words that caused my brain to snap like a trap around them and form my own plan. These were the words that I heard. Let's do it again. I closed the door. I stood beside the door and waited for them to come back. 2.5 hours I waited. It was worth it. Eventually, I heard them coming. I looked out the little peephole. 2 girls and a boy. The boy is maybe 17, 14, 17. He's somewhere in that. The girls, he is excited. This kid is out of his mind with excitement. He's in a hotel. It's late at night. He's with 2 beautiful girls. And the girls are playing him like a violin. They're oh, do it for us. Do it again for us. that boy looked in the peephole. My door, he's looking in the little peephole. I was looking out of the peephole. His eyeball is that big around. And he decides to do it. And I watch his fist come back. This is a true story. Watch his fist come back. And then I watch his fist start forward in slow motion. I am ready. I have been ready for 2.5 hours. I got the door handle already turned. And when his hand almost reached the door, I just yanked the door open and went, "What do you want?" Do you know what a joy it is for a man my age to see a 17-year-old boy wet his trousers? The girls left him in a heartbeat. Ah! They're gone. Look at me, boys. They will do that. And he just stood there all by himself, trembling. Big wet spot. So I love you, I really do. And I hope you will not miss the impact or point of what I'm saying. I don't do anything anymore without a reason. I don't, and I have a reason for being here tonight. I'm talking about being under the influence of love. And my family, that's what my family is about. We live in tough times. I'm going to tell you something. I'll just say this up front, and I may say it toward the end too. You know, people right now are freaking out. And I think it's because we've been leaning on the wrong thing. I looked at my nest egg. It's a yolk. It's gone. It's gone. The banker shows up at my door last week and asked me for a loan. I said, "Why do you need a loan from me?" He said, "I lost your money." So I gave him the loan and a toaster. I love doing that joke because all the old people go, "Oh, that's hilarious." And the kids are going, "Why'd you give him a toaster?" You can explain it to them when you get home. I haven't got time. I love your laughter. I love your laughter. You know I lived to see this? I had a guy have a heart attack in one of my shows. Had a heart attack. Fell right over. He was a bald guy. I was teasing him. A lot of times I just pick on people. I've kind of started on you. I might even finish out with you tonight. And I pick younger people now because I don't want this to happen anymore. He was bald, and I was teasing him about the fact that I was going bald, and we were going back and forth, and he was laughing, his eyes all squinted up, and then he fell into the aisle. You know, there's about 4,000 people. They're just roaring. This guy's laughing so hard he fell into the aisle. And then we looked at him, and he turned way the wrong color. Gray is a bad color. And so we called 911 because we realized this guy's in trouble. And the people came, people in the truck came, and they did the on him right there. And he's laying and they're talking to him, and they got oxygen on him and stuff. And finally, he got okay. And they took him out the back. Now, you can't keep doing comedy after something like that. You know, when the door shuts back there, you can't go, "Okay, 2 alligators walked into a bar." It was over. We refunded all the money. And I found out who this guy was. I felt terrible. I wrote him a letter. I said, "I'm so sorry about your heart attack and stuff." And he wrote back, "These are the kind of people I love having around me. These are the kind of people I love to entertain and bless in my life. The guys and men and women and boys and girls that are not afraid to laugh." This man wrote back and he said, "Do not apologize for this heart attack." He said, "I've had 4 heart attacks. He said, I want to thank you for the best heart attack I ever had. You know, if you're going to have some kind of influence in the kind of world we're living in, if you're going to have an influence on your family that's connected at all with joy, there's got to be laughter somewhere involved. You got to be leaning on something besides your bank account. And if you are leaning on the government, you need to have your head examined. We can't lean on the government. See, if it wasn't for the fact that I got my family and the things around me and the God that gave me this weird mind, I know I see things different. I am in trouble all the time. Went to the airport, usually 2 hours early. This time, I'm 45 minutes before the flight. Terrified I'm going to miss my flight. And I got to admit, they got it kind of down now pretty good, but there's still some stuff that just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. I'm sorry, it makes my head hurt right here. I'm in line, late for my flight, and there's a man who has a little thing of Visine about the size of the end of my thumb. You see that? And he is trying to get on the plane. And there's a man standing in front of him that has a patch on his shoulder and a chip on his shoulder, and he will not let him on the plane. Now, these people are only doing their job. I have many friends that are in the work, and they tell me that they hate the dumb stuff as much as we hate it. The man said, you cannot get on the plane with that. He pointed to it, little thing that big. He said, because that is a threat to national security. And the man who had it said, well, I have to have it because my eyes freeze shut. This is a true argument. It's going on in front of me. Your eyes freeze shut? Yes, back and forth and back. And I am standing there like this. Because I have been in jail. I make my living with these. And they have put me in jail. I remember one time they were going over me with that little spanking thing. You know, you got the little spanking. Looks just like what my mom and dad used, you know. Yeah. Me, okay. They're going over me with a little spanking thing, and it went off. When it came to here, it went off. Made a noise. Nasty national security noise. Made it right there. The man said, pull up your sleeve. I pulled up my sleeve like that. And he said, what is that? I said, in Tennessee, we call that a watch. Now, I should have stopped there, but my lips were already moving. I said, this one's got a lifetime guarantee. When it quits, a little razor blade comes out and slits your wrist. That is the wrong answer. I now know what a full body search is. You do not want a full body search. Remember when all this started, how intense it was? That's where I give them credit. They've calmed down a little bit. I remember once when it first started, they yanked me aside, slapped my luggage on a table, opened it up, start going through it. I've been gone for 49 days. I'm sitting back there just laughing because I got bad luggage. There's underwear in there that I'm afraid of. We're talking national security risk underwear. And he's putting them out on the table. You know, in front of 200 people. And he's digging around in there, came up with a pair of fingernail clippers. You remember when the fingernail clippers were the most dangerous? Just blew me. He'd say, oh, I never saw a guy get so excited. His eyes got big. He began to move. You know, what are these? What are these? I said, in Tennessee. We call him fingernail clipper. He said, "What are you planning to do with him?" I figured he asked. I said, "I thought maybe after the airplane took off, I could work my way through the fuselage with him." And that's the wrong answer. I saw the look on his face. I just found a little room and got naked by myself. So I'm standing in this line. I realize now it's very likely that I am going to miss my flight. And I am beside myself. The argument has gone on for almost 7 minutes. In fact, I timed it, and it was 7.5 minutes of, "I need this. Where's the doctor's prescription? It's on the bottle. No, I need the actual prescription because I can't read what's on the... Well, I got to go on the... You can't go on... 7 minutes. And then the man with the chip and the patch said, "Oh, why don't you step over there, and there are some baggies. There's a little stack of baggies over there. Why don't you go over there and grab a baggie and put that in a baggie? Then you can take it on the plane." I don't know about you, but shouldn't this have happened somewhere near the beginning of the conversation? And hey, work with me a little bit. Let's assume that he doesn't have eye drops in there. Let's assume in that little bottle there is the most explosive substance on the face of the earth. Let's assume it's nitroglycerin in that little bottle. My question to you is, what is the baggie gonna do? At 30,000 feet, is the thing gonna go? Hundreds of people going, "Thank God for the baggie." I saw a woman, had to be 90. I'm telling you, had to be 90. She was confined to a wheelchair, and she was chosen, this was several months ago, she was chosen for secondary screening. Here's what that means. The woman in the wheelchair who is almost 90, immobile, has been screened once, but there is something sinister about this woman. So they decide to screen her again. This kind of stuff just drives me crazy, but I was silent. I sat there silently and watched as they called 2 other people over to help her stand because she could not stand on her own. Now she is standing, the dear little lady, with her hands trembling. They're holding up her arms, and they are going over her with the spanking thing. They got halfway over here, out one arm, and she turned to them and said, "If I miss my flight, I'm going to kill some people." She missed her flight. I woke up one day, I had a sinus infection right here. I didn't know it was a sinus infection. It looked like a golf ball. I had a golf ball. Right here. It was horrible. Big swelling right here, like a half a golf ball. Pain so intense, couldn't open that eye. Tears shooting out this eye. Tears just shooting out that eye. And so I figure, there's something very wrong. And it was very bad. The pain was so intense, I knew I had to get to a doctor. Now, if my wife had been there, I'd have just whined and she'd have took me. Taken me. She'd have got me there. But she wasn't there. So I had to drive myself. 15 miles. This eye, frozen shut. This eye, tears shooting out of this eye. 15 miles to the doctor. Went into the waiting room. It's crowded just like this place. I mean, this is sold out. It's crowded in the waiting room. You ever go to the doctor? You don't see the doctor for sometimes week and a half. You just sit there with people giving you germs, sneezing on you, walking past you. So I'm sitting in there, and I sat there for just a second, and I went, I can't do this. The pain is too intense. So I went up to the thing, and I said, I'm in severe pain, and it has affected my brain to the point where I believe I may hurt some of these people. So if you could let me see the doctor. And evidently, she saw that I was in pain because she admitted me right away to bat, and she saw the golf ball. It helps. If you want to get in, helps to have a huge lump right here. And so I went into the doctor. He looked at me, and he said, I have never seen in all of my practice such a major sinus infection in my entire life. I have never seen anything like this. He said, I'm going to give you two things. I'm going to give you a shot of I'm going to give you a shot of disinfectant. And then I am going to give you a antibiotic. It's the same thing. Hey, nurse, bring that Lysol. He said, I'm going to give you a big shot of antibiotic. And then he said, I'm going to give you a powerful painkiller. You cannot drive home. Now, when he said that, I thought he was giving me his opinion. I didn't know it was a rule. I just thought he was saying in his way, you're a rotten driver, and you probably can't drive home. And my attitude was, I'll decide when I drive and where I drive. He said, now what I want you to do is go home and you rest. And he said, tomorrow, if the swelling has not gone down, I would like you to come back. And he said, we will take a needle and we will go up behind your eye and we will drain the sinus. Well, when he said that, the swelling started going down. Whatever he gave me as a painkiller, and to this day I do not remember what it was, but it was good. In fact, by the time I left his office, I could open my eye. I had no pain in that eye. There was no pain in that eye. There were no tears shooting out of this eye. As I walked to the waiting room, I waved to all of the people who were in the waiting room. I got in my car with one singular purpose, to drive home and get home as fast as I could so that the golf ball would go down and I would not have to have the needle go up behind my eye. I almost made it home. Just a few miles from my house, I looked into the rearview mirror and I saw flashing lights. Very nice policeman pulled me over and he came up to the car. And I rolled down the window, and he said, Mr. Davis, no, he did not say that. He did not know who I was yet. I need to get this straight. He said, have you been drinking any Lysol? No. He said, may I see your driver's license and your registration? And then, when he looked at my driver's license and my registration, then he said, Mr. Davis, do you have any idea how fast you were going? Now, I need to confess to you, at this point, not only was I not feeling pain, I was way over on the pleasure side of things. So I felt the need to tell him the whole story. This is absolutely true. It's how we got the title for this, Under the Influence. I said, this morning, officer, I woke up and I had a golf ball right here, a big golf ball on my head, and then I went to the doctor. I drove myself to the doctor 15 miles. I could not open this eye and I couldn't see out of this eye, but I made it, and then I got there, and I threatened to kill all the people in the waiting room. And then I'm explaining this whole thing, and I look up, and it's the only time in my entire life I have ever received a ticket, and I've received a few. The man was smiling. He had this little smile on his face. And I said, "Is there a problem?" He said, "You were doing 7 miles an hour." I'm telling you, it seemed like a lot faster than that to me. You can't even brag about that. "Hey, I got a ticket for doing 7 in a 65. I am an outlaw." What fun life is. I'm living under the influence of a guy that trusted me enough to give me a brain that doesn't work. I'm living under the influence of a wonderful family. Been married for 40 years. I said that to a group of preachers not long ago, and they stood in a standing ovation. Isn't that interesting? 40 years. They just stood up and clapped. I let them clap. When they got done clapping, I said, "To 7 different women." That makes preachers stop clapping. My wife is so funny. We went on every year for the last 10 years or so, we've gone to Colorado in the summertime. In Nashville, it gets to be like 900 degrees in the summer, and big, nasty insects come out of everywhere. I mean, we got spiders there, scare you to death. I saw a frog caught in a spider web. I won't even sleep tonight because I said that. I grew up in Minnesota. You saw a spider, you ran, you screamed like a little girl, you grabbed your mom's hairspray, and you spray the spider. And the spider, whatever it was doing, it would turn because it knew it was being attacked, and then it would suddenly go into slow motion, and then it would freeze. I looked out the window the other day in Nashville, Tennessee, and saw a spider. I was frightened for the lives of our dogs. I grabbed a can of hairspray, I went out and emptied it on that spider. You know what's frightening? To do that and see the spider go. So we head for Colorado in the summertime. And we're on our way to Colorado every year, and we fly. I've been a pilot for 20-some years, and we fly a little plane. And my wife suddenly got crazy on me. She said, "I don't want to fly." I said, "Why not?" She said, "I think our luck is running out." I said, "Why would you think our luck is running out? Why would you say that?" She said, "We have not had an accident." I have learned, you do not ask for an explanation. I said, "Would it make you happy if we drove?" "Yes." She said, "I feel it would be safer. I just feel like we've gone so long without an accident that the odds are getting closer and closer and closer for us to have an accident." So we drove to Denver, Colorado from Nashville, Tennessee. If you were to draw a line from Nashville, Tennessee to Denver, Colorado, you would discover that the line extends completely through the state of Kansas. Are you from Kansas? Mm-hmm. You are such a sweet lady, and I have never met anybody but nice people from Kansas. But I never want to drive through there again. Hundreds of miles of nothing. I had my 3 grandchildren with me. We're trying to play a game called I See It. Do know how mind-numbing it is to have 3 kids under 4 for hours going, wheat, wheat, wheat. I saw it first, wheat, 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 wheat. Every once in a while, corn, wheat, wheat. What's driving me nuts? I turned to my wife and I said, we are not going to stop here. These are wonderful people. This is where we get our food from. You know that's true. But we are not going to stop here. We will travel all the way through Kansas so when we wake up in the morning, the children will have something to see. How many of you have never driven through Kansas? May I see your hands, please? Okay, before we continue, I want to tell you what it's like. Okay, I want to give you a mental picture of what it's like. Close your eyes for just a minute. Just close your eyes. It's okay, close your eyes. That's what it's like. At 11:30 that night, on our way through Kansas to the other side, at 11:30, on a dark, stormy, rainy night, we hit a cow doing 70 miles an hour. The cow wasn't doing 70. Oh, for a little ways he was. The cow was doing this. No, he wasn't doing that either, because cow doesn't have fingers or nothing. That destroys a car. That destroys a car. By the way, 7 years of flying, never hit a cow. The next series of events, unbelievable, unbelievable. Airbag did not go off. Not one airbag went off. This is a 2,000-pound cow. I've got pictures of this whole accident. You wouldn't believe it. This cow went up over our car and hit the car behind us. We screeched to a halt. God is so good. My wife turns to me and says, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I'm okay." "Are you okay? How come the airbags go off? Didn't go off?" I said, "I don't know. Maybe there's a little sensor in there that goes, just a cow." And you know what's most hilarious? 3 perfectly safe, beautiful little babies in the back seat. Not hurt. They don't even know their danger. The youngest one is back there going, "Cow!" I win. Let me give you a picture of this. Car is disabled. Another car is disabled. Huge cow in the middle of the highway. Raining, pitch black, and semis coming one right after another. 2 of them actually slid and smoked rubber to avoid hitting the cow. Finally, my family is out standing in the rain. The other family is out standing in the rain. Finally, the police come. Oh, by the way, the farmers came too. I grew up as a farmer. I love farmers. They're just straightforward, man. They're just straightforward. They came on their ATVs. I don't know how they found out. There must be some internet or something. Because you'd see them coming, ning, 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 and then you'd see them stop at a fence and ning, 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 up on the thing, and they'd pull out and go, "You okay?" "Yep." And then they'd look down and go, "Not our cow." Ning, ning, ning. I'm right. It was hilarious. So we're disabled there. And by the way, I love your response to this story. You're so great and real. Man, I love real people. And not that they aren't real, but tell this story in California, totally different response. They don't care about the grandkids. What happened to the cow? Oh, poor cow. He's dead. Cow is dead. Did you check? Yes. Went back. Knelt by the cow. Said, got milk? No answer. Cow's dead. It is in California. There's crazy people all over the world. 3 babies is more important than 1 cow. Sorry. I want to say to those folks, get a life. Praise God for my 3 children. Go home, have a hamburger. Insurance people came. They made a pronouncement. We cannot total this car. We're going to fix it. I said, I'm sorry, will you say that one more time? We're going to fix this car. It isn't totaled. I said, come here. What is that in the front seat? Guy says, that's the engine. I said, that's not supposed to be there. Come on, look in the trunk. That's cow hair in the trunk. The cow hit the front of the car. His hair is in the trunk. They decided to fix the car. A car is not what it used to be. A car used to be an engine surrounded by metal. It's not true anymore. Now it's a computer surrounded by metal. You know what that means? You can't fix it. I'm deadly serious about that. You don't believe me? Take your computer tomorrow. Those of you who have computers, take your computer, put it in a computer cannon, shoot it at a cow doing 70 miles an hour, and then do a spreadsheet. It won't work. We got our car back. Our cow back. I'll tell you, you do 2 shows in a row, anything can come out. We got our car back. Smelled like disinfectant. We got our car back, and it was the weirdest thing you've ever seen. First night we were driving it, we're driving along, and the lights went out. Just like that. I'm serious. Lights went out. Boom, like that. It's dark. We pulled over to the side, got our cell phones out, we're going to call, and lights came back on. Driving down the road maybe a week later, and all the windows went down. I'm not kidding. All of them. It caused an argument. I said, wind them back up. Well, I didn't wind them down. Well, I didn't wind them down. We're the only 2 people in the car. What are you talking? I didn't wind them out. Just wind them back up. They went down by themselves. We're driving along. The little heat thing says that it's 36 below zero. So it turns on the heat. It's 97 degrees outside. And it won't let us wind the windows down. And in the back of my head, I'm starting to hear, I'm thinking, this cow is haunting this. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So a couple weeks later, we pull into this. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit here. So a couple of weeks later, my wife invites me to a restaurant to eat. And it's called Chop House, right near our home in Tennessee. Beautiful little restaurant. And I said, I'll meet you there. And I drove to the restaurant. And just as we pulled into the restaurant, it started to rain, which is when most of this stuff would happen. And so I pulled into the restaurant and shut the car off. And I I reached over to unlock open the door. And when I pulled the handle to open the door, folks, when I say this is true, it's true. All four doors locked simultaneously, just click. Now that made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. Is the cow gonna hurt me? Wouldn't it freak you out? It was the most unbelievable thing. And so I unlocked it. It's simple. You just unlock it. And when I unlocked it, all of the doors unlocked. But every time I would pull the handle to open the door, it would automatically lock again. Windows would not go down. Nothing would happen. And so now I have to beg people. Remember, it's raining, so the inside of the car is all steamed up. And I have a little hole. And as people are coming out of the restaurant, I'm beating on the window going, "Can you let me out of the car?" The doors are locked. Could you let me out the car? It's okay. Please don't run away. I finally got a little elderly couple to come over. And she was the leader. He was with her, but she was the leader. "Well, that's the problem." I said, I cannot, the door. "Would you let me out of the car? Would you open the car door and let me out of the car?" She said, "Why don't you get out by yourself?" I said, "I cannot get out of the car by myself. Please." True. She reached over to pull the handle of the car, and it set off the car alarm. For you younger kids, us older folks cannot move fast. But she called the police just like that. So the police come. The man has his hand on his weapon. "What are you doing?" "Please let me out of my car." "Why don't you get out on your own?" "Because of the cow." I had to blow up a balloon. He let me out and he goes, "Stand here, touch your nose." "The cow, touch your nose." He asked me directly, "Are you under the influence?" I said, "Sir, not of what you think I am." My wife waited a half hour for me in the restaurant. I went in and told her the whole story. She listened. "Women, you are without mercy." When I got done, the only words from her lips were, "You had a cell phone, stupid." You could have called me. We have a real family. Our family is real. You know what? I don't hang around fake people anymore. I got too short a time left. I don't hang around people that say they got no problems in their life because they're lying to me. God came here for people who have problems in their life. I don't know what I'd do without him. That's the influence I'm living under. And I want to be around people that are honest. I told somebody I've been married 40 years. Guy came up and he said, "I've been married 40 years, never had a fight. We have never thought bad words or thought bad thoughts toward each other. We have never spoken harshly or loudly to one another." I said, "You're married to a carrot." You're certainly not married to a woman. Oh, I hear you groaning, women. It goes both ways. I'm going to tell stories both ways. It's real. And for you young people here, here's the problem with our society. We're living under an influence that tells us, if it gets tough, get out. If you have conflict, don't try and solve it. Find somebody you won't have conflict with. You will never find such a person. I've been married 40 years. I love this woman. I'm never going to get married to somebody else, but she needs to be put away. And when they come to get her, I'm going with her because I don't want to be with anybody else. And the communication thing doesn't get easier, it gets harder. Because I can't hear anymore. And neither can she. It's hilarious. There's entire arguments in our house with one word. What? 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 Am I alone? And the longest, most intense argument you will ever have starts with this dialogue. Where'd you like to go to dinner tonight? I don't care. You are liars with skirts on. Oh, well then let's go to that wonderful bean place. No, I don't want to go there. Well, why? Because I drove past there the other day and I saw a cockroach in the middle of the road. What does that have to do with the bean place? He might have come from there. Okay, let's go to JJ's. No, I don't want to go to JJ's. That waitress. What about the waitress? She spoke to me with a tone. Well, where would you like to go? I don't care. What do? You either end up at each other's throats or you laugh until stuff shoots out your nose. Think of this. We've been married 40 years and she's still after me. You don't communicate. So what are you talking about? You don't communicate. You don't let me know about your feelings. For 40 years, I've been trying to tell her, we don't have feelings. We have emotions. Well, what kind of emotions? Touchdown! When I do that, sweetheart, it's communication. Well, I want to know what's happening inside. I want to know what you're feeling. I don't know how to do that. We're down in Jacksonville. We're driving to Florida. And we're in Jacksonville. We're at an intersection. And we stop at the intersection. I look across the street. I've recently lost about 30 pounds over the last year, and I don't want to gain it back. And I see a restaurant across there that I love to eat at, used to love to eat at. It's a good place, but I just can't eat there very much anymore. It's really sad. And it hit me. That's a feeling. So I decided to communicate it in my man way. This happened verbatim. I said, Dunkin Donut. And she said, what? And I didn't think she had heard me, so I said, Dunkin Donut. And she said, what? Within 30 seconds, we are at each other's throats. Finally, I just turned to her, and I was not nice. I said, what part of Dunkin Donut Don't you understand? And she turned to me and said, don't condone what? I said, I didn't say don't condone it. I said Dunkin Donuts. There's a difference. Men have a difficult time too. In fact, I am thinking of writing a book called We Are Idiots. And we are, in some sense, idiots. We know very little about communication and even less about romance. Do you know what I gave my wife for her first anniversary? A heavy-duty Delco battery. Now, I'm getting evil looks from the women. Listen to me. The hardest thing for a man to do is to shop for that first anniversary gift. We haven't got a clue. I didn't know what to buy. What can I buy? I don't know what to buy. I'm hunting. I can't afford anything. What should I do? The morning before our anniversary, she said, honey, if you want to really help me, I tried to start the car today and it would not start. Could you get a battery? And my man brain went, shopping's over. I went to a place called Sears and Roebuck, and I bought me a heavy-duty, huge battery. I put in a box. I wrapped it up in nice paper. I put a bow in it, and I had it on the dinner table for our sweet little first anniversary dinner. I knew she'd like it because it was heavy. Men know if a gift is heavy, it's a good gift. We had dinner. She gave me something. I don't know what, some little frou-frou thing. And then I was so happy, I pushed that heavy thing over to her, and she began to unwrap it. Women do this totally different than men. She would take the tape off, one piece at a time, and save it, you know, in case there's a recession or something. She'll be digging that stuff out pretty quick here. And then she would fold the paper up real nice and set it to one side. There's a present in there. Men know that if there's a present in there, you rip the thing to shreds and get to the present. I was so excited. She opened the thing, and I saw her look in at the battery. And I'm excited about what's going to happen. And nothing happened. She's just staring at the battery. And then I looked over and I saw a huge pool of tears develop right here in her eye. And my man brain went, I have hit the mother lode. She loves this thing. Oh, man. And then a tear dropped on the battery, and then another one, and another one. And I realized something is wrong. So I said, what is wrong? She said, I was thinking you would give me something romantic. And I thought, I should have thrown in them jumper cables. I said, I am sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I do not know what romantic is. I don't know. She said, it's frilly stuff. I want you to buy me frilly stuff that you can see through, clothes that you can see through. I said, we live in Minnesota. You will freeze to death. We haven't got a clue. I didn't know. She said, next time you give me something like that, that will make me happy. So I got her something like that. Let me tell you, shopping for that stuff is horrible. I see men and boys in here. Don't you go to any store that has the word secret anywhere in the title. I hate that shopping. I don't go in there. I do not go in there. I bring a big wad of money and I throw it in there. And I said, get something frilly you can see through. Put it in a box and kick it out here. It's not going in there. Or they try to lure you in there. How long are her legs? They go all the way to the floor. Just kick it out here. I was good for 5 years. For 5 years, I bought the right stuff, and she was very happy, and then I blew it again. 5th wedding anniversary. I bought her something that was frilly, and you could see through. She loved it. Oh, it's so pretty, so romantic. And then she pushed my gift across the table. It was in a little box about that big, and she actually snapped it across the table, and it left the ground. It became airborne. I knew there can't be anything worth anything. It can't be a tool. Unless there's a credit card to Cabela's in that box, this is a wipeout. So I opened the gift. I laughed so hard. I've never seen anything like that. She had bought me a pair of underwear. Nasty underwear. It was just nasty. It had pictures of strawberries on it. It was little, and I laughed. I mean, I had stuff shooting out my nose. I said that, and I looked over, and she had a big tear right here. I said, what's the matter? She said, why are you laughing? I said, don't be sad. This is the funniest gift I've ever received. She said, it's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be romantic. I said, there's pictures of strawberries on these things. Honey, I'm a man. If God had intended for us to have pictures on our underwear, he'd have put like a teddy bear on Adam's leaf, something to give us a hint. Am I right, men? We don't want this. When I was a little boy, my mom used to buy me underwear with days of the week stitched into the little part. I'm a boy. Month of the year, maybe. I don't need to check what day it is. Friday. I said, I'm sorry. She said, I thought that when you were gone, and you're gone all the time, that you would wear them, and then you would think of me. She said, will you wear them? Do you promise? I said, yes, I will wear them. That very night, I am 1,000 miles from home. I have forgotten everything. I'm just exhausted. I fell into the hotel bed. I am this close to being sound asleep. And God himself spoke to me. I heard him. He said, Ken, you made a promise. Lord, don't do this to me. You made a promise. I said, Lord, have you seen them underwear? Those aren't Christian underwear. You made a promise. I got up. I didn't even turn the light on. I just went over and searched through the suitcase. I didn't need a light. I could feel the slimy things. And I put them on, and I went over and I knelt by my bed. And I said, "Dear Lord, please don't let me die tonight." I cannot bear the thought of two maids coming in here tomorrow. Oh, yeah, they got a strawberry underwear, eh? Jeez. I went to bed that night, and I was wakened by a sound at the door. I'm frightened. I actually got beaten in a hotel room once. Somebody said, "Room service," and I opened the door, and they came in and beat me up and stole stuff from me. I'm terrified. I woke up. I had heard the sound, and then I saw a shadow on that light that comes underneath the door, and I thought, oh, it's going to happen again. So I got up, and I laid on the floor, and I peeked under the crack. There's always a crack underneath the door, and I peeked under there, and if I saw if I saw feet there, then I was going to call down and have them call the police. I was terrified. No feet, just light. I went and I peeked out the little peephole, and I thought, well, maybe I'll see teenagers out there, maybe some teenagers out there. Nothing. I unlocked the door, and I left the latch. You know the little chain? I left that on there. This is true. And I peeked out. Nobody. And then I looked down, and laying on the floor is a newspaper. That's what it was. They come down the hall at night, and they throw a newspaper. And sometimes it hits the door, and it had hit my door. The relief. And so I just unlocked it, and I went out, and I grabbed a newspaper, and then I heard that door lock behind me. Oh, this is funny for you. I'm standing in the hallway of an expensive hotel in little strawberry underwear. And I got down on my knees and I said, "Lord, kill me now. Kill me now." I had to go get a key. Newspaper will cover the whole body. Did you know that? Most of the women in this room would have left me halfway through this show. And my wife has seen all the dumb stuff I do and watched me make all kinds of mistakes, some of them serious marriage mistakes, and she has loved me for 40 years. I have lived under the influence of love. Changed my life. I don't want to be with anybody else. And then there's the children. They're influenced. Wow, I didn't even want to have children. It isn't that we hated children, we met one. I'll never forget it. They set me next to about a 1.5-year-old child to eat. That is the grossest experience in life. Children do not have stomachs. They absorb food through their pores. This child smeared food all over his body. His mother would put it in. He would spit it out. It's his only way of saying, "Feed me, smear it on me." He had a slobber thing, industrial strength slobber thing, swinging around. "Oh, you slobber, I saw you do it a minute ago." But you can get rid of it. You can wipe it away. But no, children, it just hangs there. They can pick up pieces of toast and move it from one place to another. The sun was hitting it, throwing little rainbows around the room. I said to the mother, "Get some scissors, cut that thing off of there." When a child was covered with food, he turned to me, started talking to me in a language I didn't understand. He's covered with food. I whispered to him, "You touch me, I'll drop kick you." Bad attitude, bad brain, bad thinking, selfish thinking. No heart. On the way home, I looked over at Diane. She was rubbing food stains from her beautiful dress. I said, honey, I do not want to have children. She looked up at me and she said, neither do I. I stopped the car, took her hands in mine, and I looked in her eyes, and I said the most romantic words I think I've ever said. Sweetheart, my love is reserved for you. I will share it with no one. It's just you and me. Then we went home and celebrated. God has a sense of humor. When that baby was born, I went from a reluctant, selfish, not wanting to be bothered daddy to a head over heels, under the influence with love dad, just like that. Just in a heartbeat. You ever been there? That will freak you out. There were 3 people in the room. 3. Me, the doctor, and my wife. Then there were 4 people in the room. I ran from the room to call my wife and tell her. She wasn't home. The doctor came over. He said, it's a little girl. He said, would you like to hold her? I said, no. He said, why not? I began to cry like I was 2 years old. She'll break. I will break her. I had never seen anything so fragile in all my life. The doctor said, stand up, you idiot. My wife had given him my name. I stood up, and before I could protest, he put the baby into my arms. Her little hand shot out, her whole hand no bigger than my thumbnail. She wrapped 4 little fingers and a tiny thumb around my little finger and wrapped her soul around my heart. And I would have died for her. And I got a little glimpse at what the influence of God's love is like. Made a bad mistake. I blinked. My eyes blinked, boing, like that. When I opened my eyes again, she was no longer a little baby holding my finger. She was a young woman standing beside me, all dressed in white from the top of her toes the whole way. If you're dressed in white from the top of your toes, you're naked. She was all dressed in white from the top of her head to the tip of her toes. It was her wedding day. She's clutching my arm. The church is filled with our friends. The organ is playing. There's a little pervert waiting for her in the front of the church. I love this because all the women are going, no. Oh, that was a bad word. No. But all the men are going, no, you got the word. Hang on to the word. We're standing back there. She squeezed my arm. And she whispered in my ear, I love you, Daddy. You know what that does to a man? Destroys him. Now, she does love me, but that isn't why she said it. She said it because she's my daughter, and that means she's got my blood flowing through her veins, and that means she's not right. She is sick. She said it, I know, because I overheard her and her sister make a $100 bet that they could make me cry during this wedding. That's why she said, that's sick. All the way down the aisle. Love you, Daddy. I love you, Daddy. Oh, I love you. That is just, she don't even care about the pervert. She just wants $100. And I decided I wasn't going to give her a penny, not one penny. So I bit my lip all the way down. We got to the front of the church, and I thought I had made it. I did not cry, but the preacher was the most formal person I've ever met in my life. If you haven't guessed, I'm not very formal. Preacher goes, "Who giveth this woman to this man?" And I went, "My mother and I do." And that's the wrong answer. Preacher said, "Sit down." I sat down and I made a horrible mistake. I blinked, and when I opened my eyes, she was no longer a little baby clutching my finger, nor was she a young bride clutching my arm at the back of the church at her beautiful wedding. But instead, she was lying in a hospital bed in Denver, Colorado, giving birth to our first grandchild. It went like that. Room 134. Or 431. Or 341. I could find it today because it's got a grease spot where I put my head against the door and prayed that God would protect this little baby that he knew about from before the earth was formed. Prayed that he would protect my daughter. And then I heard the cry of a voice that had never been heard before on the face of the earth. And I was under the influence one more time. They brought that baby out and took her to the aquarium. You know the aquarium, a little place where they got a bunch of carp and one beautiful child. And I fell head over heels in love. Do you know that little children climbed all over Jesus? You remember that story in the Bible? The disciples said, get away from him. Now, the pictures are always of neat little children sitting quietly listening. That is not the way little children are. They were all over him. They were yanking on his clothes. They were trying to get his attention. They were like normal little children are. And the disciples said, "Hey, you little bread snappers, get out of here." And Jesus said, "You leave them alone. They're my kind of people. They speak directly from the heart. They speak the truth. And I'm living a marvelous life, not only under the influence of the love of a wonderful wife and children and grandchildren, but a God who uses little ones to let me know the truth. It's my show, so I get to show you pictures. Here's 3 of my granddaughters right here. I call these my 3 fairy granddaughters. Are they not beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. They're just like fairies. They come into the room, they scream my name, "Grandpa, Grandpa," and they come running to me, and their feet leave the ground, and you can hear their little angel wings beating, little fairy wings just beating, and they float over, and they put their arms around me, and they whisper in my ear, "I love you, Grandpa." They make my spirit soar. I have 2 demon-possessed grandsons. They come running into the room doing about 65. They do not slow down. They do not leave the ground. They just put their head down. Few things so painful than the entire world than to be greeted by your grandsons. What's the matter, Grandpa? Grandpa has fallen and he cannot get up. Preston and Bailey, my two beautiful, wonderful gifts from God. They actually clean up pretty good. Here they are. They're both intelligent little boys. The little boy on the right is so smart. The little dark-headed boy is so smart. Preston is his name. Bought him an airplane that shoots out of a gun, shoot all the way across this auditorium. And he flew it twice, and then he came to me and said, I want to fly it backwards. I said, it won't fly backwards. I want to fly it backwards. I said, it will not fly backwards. I want to fly it backwards. Okay, let me explain to you. And I showed him aerodynamics. What a teachable moment. How air goes over the wings, creates a vacuum. I've been a pilot for 30 years. It was so fun to explain to him that that's what makes an airplane fly. Now, when you turn it around, the air will not go over the wing like that. The air won't do it, and so it cannot fly. He smiled and said, I want to fly the airplane backwards. I said, okay. This is going to be a great demonstration. I put it in backwards, managed to get it locked in there, pulled that rubber band back, gave him the little shooter, and he shot the airplane. It didn't make it 4 inches, tumbled off the end of that brand new toy, and crashed to the floor and broke into 10 or 15 pieces. And I said, see, Preston, what a perfect example that an airplane can't fly backwards. Oh, he said, I knew that. I just wanted to freak those two little guys in the cockpit out. I have another grandson. Doesn't eat a lot. You take an unruly child and a little Jack Daniels, that's what you get. Now, don't write to me. Do not write me a letter. Oh, you're encouraging drinking among children. I am not. It is a joke. And anyway, you misheard me. You can't hear. I said, read him the book of Daniel. That's what you get. Little Jaden is the youngest of the granddaughters. Little Jaden. Oh, she can work it. She adored the photographer. Can you see it? Can you see her working it? I think it gave her $200-300 just for posing. What a little sweetie. Little Jaden has a special touch with God. Little Jaden will not allow you to eat a peanut in our house unless you pray first. I caught her in the kitchen choking our German Schnauzer. Had him right on the floor. You pray, God our Father, God our Father. Once again, dog going, arr, arr. Once again, we bow our heads. We bow our heads to thank you. And she can't say amen, so she goes, all the men, all the men. Oh, she's powerful. All she does now is walk in the house and the dogs go. I am here tonight because I believe with all of my heart that when you live under the influence of God's love, it takes fear out of your life. It changes your life forever. But sometimes I even forget that. I just seem to forget where my source of joy, where my source of strength and security comes from. And then God uses a 3-year-old. I woke up one night when she was 3. The 3 of them were staying at our house. And I knew I was in trouble. I woke my wife, Diane, up and I said, "Sweetheart, I need to go to the hospital now." We wrapped those 3 little girls up, put them in the back seat of the car, put them in their little seats, and we started to the hospital. Not a word to them. They knew nothing about what was going on. From the back of the car came the voice of this little girl. "I think we need to pray for Grandpa." 3. She said, "I want everybody to hold hands." By the way, she gets her way. Everybody held hands. Diane was driving, and she kept one hand on the steering wheel. We believe in miracles, but there's really no use in pushing it. And from the back of the car came a little voice with truth that I needed to hear. I expected to hear, "God our Father, God our Father," and a prayer ending with "all the men." That's the way she ends all her prayers. Instead, this is what she prayed. "Dear God, please don't let my grandpa be afraid." She knew nothing. She said, "Help him think of bunnies and rainbows and happy faces." She said, "Please, God, don't let my grandpa forget about Jesus." 3. Then she took a deep breath and she said, "All the men," and turned and continued punching her sisters out. Real life, folks, real life. But that little prayer became the foundation of my healing, reminding me that God had not abandoned me, reminding me that my only hope was in Him. And as long as I'm under that influence, I can face anything. In Isaiah 43, amazing. I read it about 2 or 3 days after her little prayer. God says Himself, "Do not be afraid. I am your God, your personal God. You are mine. When you're in over your head, you will not go down. When you're between a rock and a hard place, I will show you a way out." And toward the end of that passage, He says, "I would trade the whole world for you. I love you. Do not be afraid, for I am with you." From the voice of a 3-year-old, truth that changes the world. I hope you'll live under that kind of influence. I hope that will bring unspeakable joy to your life. And as a result, I hope the people around you will know that you're like me. You're under the influence. God bless you. Oh, you're sweet. You're sweet. God is good. I just want to proclaim this tonight, and for anybody who watches this tape, God is good. I will tell you, if this show had been scheduled for any time from yesterday to 2 weeks before that, I could not have done it. I have been so sick that I could not have done it. I have discovered recently, as of last week, that I am allergic to everything. I am allergic to everything, especially this time of the year when the plants give off all of their stuff and deer die beside the side of the road. I don't sniff them, but I am allergic to everything. By the way, what made me think of that was you got some here. It must be the time of the year. There's deer dead beside the road. And you got another thing here I don't understand. We're in the middle of nowhere. What's with the traffic jam? 2 miles of cars backed up. I mean, this isn't New York City. 2 miles of car, and my car is stopped by the dead deer.